5 reasons to study a zoology degree. First, the work won't be dull. When you're working with any number of different animals and studying topics as diverse as behavior, evolution, and anatomy, you almost certainly won't get bored. Many universities that offer zoology courses also place a large emphasis on field work, which means less time cooped up in the lecture theater and more time spent with animals. Second, you get to work with animals. So on to the animals themselves, you'll know that there are few things more entertaining in this world than animals. If you study zoology, you'll get to this out head first. Add to this fact that the working with animals can be extremely challenging and rewarding. And well, frankly, you're on to the winner. Third, you'll be dealing with this beast like this. Fourth, the career prospects with incredibly varied. So after the degree is over, what kind of career can you go forward to? Well, the good news is you'll have plenty of different jobs to choose from. Zoology graduates typically go into areas like conversation, research, ecology. The history of zoology in 1859. Zoology is the science of studying about the animals. The animal kingdom has fascinated mankind centuries together. People try and understand the evolution of life, extinction of emergence of species to understand different biological cycles. Many scientists have published catalogs of their observation about existence of animals and plants in deep seas and far-off lands. The exploration of nature still continues. Zoology is recorded to have originated from China and Arabia when Al-Jahiz, a famous Afro-Arab scholar, wrote a book on animals. Other popular people who have published their observations in the same field are Shen Ku and Su Song. Reports states that scientific zoology began during the 16th century, where the spirit of exploration, observation, and research took shape. However, it was considered a separate field of study independent of psychology, anatomy, and other medical research fields. Initially, this field started manifesting in the universities in Italy before it moved to the Oxford University 50 years later. In the year 1651, the popular institution in Europe named Academia Naturae Curiorum started analyzing, illustrating, describing the structure of animals as well as plants. It was incorporated by the Royal Society of London after about 11 years. Louis established an Academy of Science in Paris. Anatomists and scientists set to work seriously in the field during the end of the 18th century. The first microscope invented by the Leeuwenhoek created a huge revolution in the field of zoology. During the 19th century, the microscope was made better with improved features to help establish the cell theory.
Who founded zoology? The ancient Europeans were the first race to recently undertake observation of the animal forms existing along with the human race, and these people care credit with having catalogued many species with proper description of their characteristics. Aristotle also comes to the fore with the mention of the roots animal science. His writing in the period from 384 to 332 BC are much favored by scholars. The period was complemented by the works of scholars in Arabia and China, namely Al-Hajiz and Su Song, respectively. The Roman contribution is largely attributed to Pliny and Elder. Till as late as 16th century, zoology was not separate scientific entity but coexists with department to anatomy and biology. This era led to opening the doors through which ancient light was seen upon the field of zoology, and this happened with the dedicated efforts of the Italian schools and universities, and backed by the University of Oxford.
The importance of studying zoology. Zoology is the aspect of science that deals with the study of the animal's evolution, habitat, and behavior. Many students wonder why they need to study zoology. It is a branch of science that does not have anything to do with people, so they are left wondering why they have to learn it. The first answer to the question, why is zoology important to us, is for humans to have an appreciation for nature. Our nature is not just composed of the human, but of plants and animals as well. The second answer to the question, why is zoology important to us, is for people to have a better understanding of the animals. Some animals are usually misunderstood by people like sharks and snakes, the creatures and thought of us human killers. And this is mainly because we don't understand why they behave that way. Third, the third answer to the question, why is zoology important to us, is to understand the urgency of preserving the animals. Studying this subject would help people know the real facts about animals. One of the negative facts is that dwindling numbers of some species of animals. The fourth answer to the question, why is zoology important to us, is for people to learn the importance of the role of humans as caretakers of animals. Modern progress is needed for a country to grow in terms of its economy. However, it should not force us to compromise our rainforest and ocean. It reminds us that modernization should not just be equated with tall buildings and skyscrapers. People should realize that our modern lives should include the lives of the animals that live with us. They should not be contained in zoos, but in their natural habitat as well. We will learn that every living creature on earth has the right to own a habitat, and as their caretaker, we need to fight for them to have permanent habitat. How do zoologists design good habitats? A good habitat must cater to the food, water, and shelter needs of a number of species. The landscape and plant cover forms a low place but extremely essential rung of the habitat ladder. While designing a habitat, zoologists devote plenty of time and effort towards understanding the nature of the plant species available in the area. These plants and grasses initiate the food chain that may end up at mammoth predators. Hence, the study of native plant varieties is an essential part of the designing of a suitable habitat. A geographical location that encounters extensive rainfall necessitates the planting of evergreen varieties that provide shade from the elements of nature. Similarly, flowering varieties with nectar content are planted while establishing an apiary. A cattle farm necessitates the, the planting of suitable grass varieties. Equally important is the provision of a perennial source of water for the animal species inhabiting the habitat. Easily approachable rivers, and pools are ideal epicenters of a well-developed habitat of a variety of species. Shallow pools are preferred for amphibians and birds. However, it is also important to mitigate the problem of waterborne diseases is an artificial habitat.
Carnivore, meaning meat eater, is an organism that derives its energy and nutrients requirements from a diet consisting mainly or exclusively of animal tissue, whether through predation or scavenging. Animals that depend solely on animal flesh for their nutrient requirements are considered obligate carnivores, while those that also consume non-animal food are considered facultative carnivores. Omnivores also consume both animal and non-animal food, and apart from the more general definition, there is no clearly defined ratio of plant to animal material that would distinguish a facultative carnivore from an omnivore. A carnivore that sits at the top of the food chain is an apex predator. Plants that capture and digest insects are called carnivorous plants. Similarly, fungi that capture microscopic animals are often called carnivorous fungi.
Omnivore is an animal that can derive its energy through and nutrients from a diet consisting of a variety of food sources that may include plants, animals, algae, fungi, and bacteria. The, the term means all-eater, in Latin omnis omnia, meaning all or everything, and vorare, meaning to devour. Omnivores often are opportunistic general feeders which lack carnivore or herbivore specialization for acquiring or processing food, but which nevertheless consume both animal protein and vegetation. Herbivore is an animal anatomically and physiologically adapted to eating plant material, for example foliage, for the main component of its diet. As a result of their plant diet, herbivorous animals typically have mouth parts adapted to rasping or grinding horses, and other herbivorous have wide flat teeth that are adapted to grinding grass, tree bark, and other tough plant materials.